welcome back to Night Owl Collage. I'm Amber, and today we're going to make something a little different. I have the signature for my Sounds of Summer journal that I'm making, and I have in each signature I have like 4. In each signature I have this one of these coloring pages, and I wanted to watercolor them. So I said, well, what if I could make a little paint palette to put in the journal? So this is what I came up with. So I have this opens with washi tape, and then it opens up like this. Okay, so I used gouache. It is a little crumbly, but I used gouache for mine because I didn't have watercolor in tubes, but if you have that, use that. The gouache is good though. It's staying and it's working well. So this is the palette, and then you would use this side to protect your colors and use this side as your palette to mix colors, so that when you close it up, this protects your colors from getting the mixtures from your palette on your colors. And then it just closes with washi tape. So this is just laminated sheets that I cut down and stuck together with washi tape. So I'm going to show you how to make a paint palette, but we're going to try DIY watercolors. I've never done that before. We're going to see if they work, see what they're like, and then I'm going to show you how to put this in a journal. We're going to make kind of like a pocket and make it so that it's waterproof. So let's get started with that, and hopefully this all works out. Alright, so this is the first time I've made DIY watercolor paints. So we're going to do some kitchen science here and try to make our own. So what you're going to need is you're going to need half a cup of baking soda. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of light corn syrup or table sugar. And you're going to need a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. You'll also need whatever colors that you want your watercolors to be, like food coloring, like gel coloring will probably be better. And you will need some toothpicks to add the color. And you will need some kind of tray or like an egg carton or something that will hold your different colors. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the baking soda to our measuring cup. And then we're going to add our vinegar, but we're going to add this very slowly because we're going to get the fizzing, like, you know, in the homemade volcanoes, what makes the lava. So we're going to add this very slowly. All right, just a little bit at a time. And get it all mixed together. Okay. Okay, let's mix this all up. And wait till the fizzing stops. I hope this turns out well. I really want it to work, because this would be a super fun way to make watercolors. Okay, Next, we're going to add our cornstarch. Get that in there. Okay, mix that up. And we're gonna add our cornstarch. So we should end up with like a substance that has like a glue-like consistency. Hopefully that is what we'll get. Keep stirring till that's nice and combined. Oh, that's not for you, Birdie. That's not food. Okay, so it's, I'd say like a little runnier than glue. We'll see how it works out. I think it might just take a little longer to dry if it's a little runnier. Put the cap back on that vinegar. Birdie, that is not for you. Okay. So we're just gonna stir that a little bit more. And then we are going to fill up our cups here, our tray, with our solution, our mixture. And you can, if you don't want this many colors, you can always half the recipe. I actually doubled the recipe from most sites because I wanted to make sure I had a lot to experiment with. More in this one. All right, so that gives me 9 colors here. So we're going to add in our colors now. I'm going to leave, let's see. No, I won't do that. Let's see. Let's start with purple. And I'm going to use a toothpick to stir. Because I already did ocean colors, so I want to do one for my lavender and violet journal. So we're just going to stir that up till we get a consistent color, nice and smooth. That looks really pretty. So a few little clumps of color I want to get out of there. So just keep stirring until it is a uniform color. And I think I want it a little bit darker than that, so I'm going to just add another drop. There we go. Let's see. I'm trying to decide if I want it even darker than that. Yeah, I think I want it darker because I can always lighten it. And I will leave one of these just plain white for lightening colors. There, that's more like the color that I want. All right. So now I want to have a black. So I'm probably gonna have to use a lot to get it a nice black color. So I'll just put a nice big squirt in there. got kind of like a green undertone though. Okay, see, that's more like a dark green, but we'll go with it. And then we will use, let's do a pink. This food coloring was a little dry, so it's leaving some bits of color, but I'm not, you know, I'm not too worried about it. This is just an experimental batch, so it'll be all right. We're just gonna, I got most of the bigger chunks out of there, so I think that'll be okay. I'm gonna add some more. It does say black, not green, so I'm gonna add more to that. Hopefully that'll turn black and not green. Let's stay in green. Okay. Next we will do, I think I want to try to do like a cream color. I might have to add yellow and brown. We'll see. Just want a little bit of yellow. That might be too much, yeah. It's a bright yellow. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown. To that. Might need to add more, we'll see. Yeah, we might need to add actually a whole drop or something to get this down to a color I want. Let's see, on a sheet of paper, what this will look like watered down. So let's see. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a cream color here. A dark cream. So I think that'll be good. It's kind of like almost like a yellow ochre, which I'm okay with. I like yellow ochre. Okay, and then we're going, since I already dropped some pink in here, we're going to do this rose color. Okay, we've got a rose color. This is turning out to be, looks like more orangish. All right, now let's see. We're going to do a dark blue. Okay, we've got our colors, and we're gonna set those aside to dry, and I'll show you how to make the template. So I made this one before. I'm gonna make it a little wider than this time. This is 3.5, well, really 3 3/8 by 5 5/8. So I think we'll make it 3 3¾ by 6. I think we'll make it. And all I did was take my circle punch. It's a 1.5 inch circle punch. And I kind of made a mark at the center so I know where to punch. And I just can't, let me just make a little so you can see better. So this is about the center. So I'm going to place that in the center. I'm going to come all the way in. Make a punch. Do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to come over to the side here on this one. Now I have my template for putting my paints on my palette. And the way we make the palette is I've taken a laminated sheet and cut it down to, let's see what size this is and make sure this fits correctly. Yep, that'll be fine. And this is, let me find my ruler again. Okay, this is 4 3/4 by just about 6 inches. And I don't think these are all the same size, so let's see. Let me see if these fit on the smaller ones. No. So I'm going to use this one as my middle one. And let's see. So I should have made these larger, but we're just going to roll with that for now. So this one is, what did I say? It was 4 3/4 by almost 6. Yeah. And then these are just slightly smaller. I'm going to make sure that we don't want them to be as wide as this one because they're going to fold in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some washi tape that I like. Okay, I'm going to go with this purple gingham here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these 2 flaps with the washi tape. And make sure I've got this even on here. Oh, that's kind of way off. This is actually pretty hard to do with, actually I'll do it this way. We're going to line this up here. Actually, let me turn it this way because it has a curved edge. And I'll line it where I want it here. And then I will just lay it over the top here. Okay, do the same thing on this side. Okay, then we're going to flip this over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then I will cut that down. Okay, and then we're just gonna fold these in. So one will be to cover the little, what do you call them? Not really pans, but they're spots of paint that you have here. And then this would be your palette that you are mixing on, so that you don't put it right over top of your paints and mix up your paints. So this layer will protect that from your palette here. And then where did I put my bone folder? I'm gonna give that a bone fold. And this does kind of pop up. So what I do is I just take a piece of washi tape to keep it closed, because that is pretty easy closure for this. So I'm just gonna use, and I did not put that washi tape on straight, but that's all right. So I'm just gonna use my washi tape to keep it closed in my journal. So we have this. So once these colors are a little drier, we are going to put our colors, we're going to use our template here and use a palette knife to put our colors on here. And then we will have a nice homemade DIY watercolor palette that we can use in our journals. How nice is that? Okay, so I will be back when this has dried a little more and we will put it all together. All right, these have set overnight and there's still some liquid on the top. So they're not completely dry, but I think that is okay for me to go ahead and apply it to the template. So I'm going to shift this just a bit because it got a little bit crooked there. Okay, so I already did the pink and I just used my heat tool to dry it pretty fast. Still probably a little bit moist, but we will keep drying it, and I'll show you how I'm doing one and then I'll speed it up for the rest of them. So I did the rose here and now I'm going to do this this deep purple here. So I'm just gonna scoop this up. Actually, I'm gonna set this right here so I don't drip it all over the place. So it's still kind of soft and moist. So I'm just gonna like pull some of this out, and I should probably get like a spoon. But I'm just gonna plop that right there on the template. I think that might be enough. I'm just gonna hold my template down so it doesn't spread under the edges. And I'm just gonna push it to the edges with my little palette knife here. You can do the same with a spoon. And we'll get that all spread out. I need a little bit more. You can see how liquidy it still is. Okay. We are going to dry that with the heat gun. Okay, now that is all spread out. So I'm gonna move that to the side and I'm gonna take my heat tool. Okay, it's dry enough for me to move on to the next one, and then I'll get them completely dry after I fill them all up. And so I'll just speed this up. So You're not watching me all day. All right, so these are pretty much dry. You can see this one crumbled and I add some more to it, so it's not very pretty. So we're gonna give these a try and see if they actually work like watercolors. I'm not so sure about them, so we're gonna test them out. So let's see. All right. Let's go with the purple because I want that one to smooth out some more. So I'm just going to take some water. Kind of smooth this out a little bit. Let's see. Well, they do kind of act like watercolors. I mean, it's not bad. You're just kind of wanting to add washes of color. I think that works pretty well. I mean, I don't think they'd be great for a whole painting or anything, but because they are light. Let me see if I can get it to be any darker. So if you try to do less water, it's going to get more crumbly. So kind of got to keep it pretty wet, and then it's going to be a light wash, which is okay when you're just kind of using it for an art journal or just coloring some things in. So I think that's pretty good. Let's try all the colors here. So let's try the pink. Okay, let's get the pink going. The pink's pretty. I like that. Okay, how about the blue? They work pretty similar to watercolors, you know? Okay, got this nice light blue wash here. Kind of fun. Yeah, pretty cool. Let's see. Let's try this color. See how this turns out. Yeah, it's kind of like that, like a creamy color that I wanted. A little bit more yellow, but still got that cream color. And we'll check out the black here. Nice. Wow. Huh. Okay, let's try our palette. Okay, so I'm going to use this side as our palette so that this will protect the paints from the palette. So I'm going to try to, let's see, let's mix some purple. Okay. More purple here. And then I'll add a little bit of pink. Okay, nice. All right, so we've got a new color here. Nice. So if you didn't have like a rag or a wet wipe or something on your travel or where you're at, you can let this dry and then just fold this over to protect your pans of paint, your spots of paint, and then fold this one over once it's dry to protect them, and then you can close it up. So that looks pretty. I mean, that works pretty well. If you don't particularly want to make DIY watercolors, I mean, go ahead and use the tubes of watercolor or gouache, like I did on the first one. I just didn't have any liquid or tubes of watercolor, so I just used the gouache. Yeah, very nice. Okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my other one, and I'm gonna show you how I'm going to put this one's gonna go in my lavender violet journal. I just don't have a watercolor page or a coloring page in there yet, but I do have one in my beach journal, so I'm gonna show you how I'm going to construct a pocket for this in my journal, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here is my coloring page, and I cut a piece of wax paper to the size of my sheet. I have a little bit torn here, but I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to sew it on all edges to back this. Now you could use something like, you could just put wax on the back of it. You could cover it in Mod Podge, but that is going to be more water resistant than waterproof. So that's why I chose wax paper, and I'm going to just sew all around the edges, okay? So that will back this and make my page back waterproof. And then after that, I cut a piece of vellum. I could use another wax sheet of paper. This is sturdier. I could use a plastic sheet protector, but I like the feel and the matte appearance of the vellum much better. So I'm going to, again, put that on here and only stitch around 3 sides because the top is going to be a pocket. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that, and I will be back in just a sec. Okay. So I have the vellum on the outside, which I sewed on with a zigzag stitch on 3 sides. The inside here is wax paper that I sewed all 4 sides on. So now that this is backed, so when this gets wet, this will have another layer of protection. It won't get anything in here wet, and we have a nice waterproof area to watercolor our coloring page. So I'm just going to fold that in. So that will go in my journal, and I will put my paint palette either side. I think it's going to be better on this side because I had to cut this side down but more. So it's going to go right in there. It's going to slip right in there, and I can tuck my watercolor brush. I'll tuck this over a little bit more, and I'll just tuck my watercolor brush right in there. And so I have a little watercolor set for my coloring pages in my whole journal. So that's going to be a lot of fun to play with. So I'm just going to, my only question is this going to hold up these paints without crumbling? It looks like they're stuck on pretty good, and if you put water on it, it's going to stick again. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I think it'll be a lot of fun because I like to watercolor on the beach. I like to watercolor just in little spots when I take my art supplies on the go. So that is going to be a lot of fun to have in a journal. So this is going to be, let's see, I had it right after this page. So that'll be in there like that. I come right here. Back here, here's my watercolors and my coloring pages, and then I can stick whatever in there, maybe another palette, maybe just some more watercolor, like watercolor paper that I can just do washes on or whatever. So that is going to be a really fun thing in my journal. I want to put this on the other side so it doesn't interfere with my my binding. So how cool is that? I hope you enjoyed that. I might make a smaller palette there, but I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you might give it a try if you like to watercolor, and that it has been interesting and fun to make some of your own DIY watercolors. And thanks for watching today, guys, and I hope you had a lot of fun, and I will see you again soon.